TeannaBReading here, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. I'm back with y'all today to give you guys another book review. Pow. That was my drum roll for y'all. Anyways, let's go ahead and get right into today's review. I'm going to be looking to my right because, as I've told y'all before, it's pulled my journal that I'm taking my notes from. It's pulled up on my computer. So if you see me looking over, because I'm not going to crop it out. If you see me looking over, that's what I'm looking at. Okay? Okay. So, let's get into it. Yes, I'm wearing a robe because I'm cold. Now, on to the review. Today, we're going to be reviewing Spin by the author Diamond D. Johnson. According to Amazon, this book is 296 pages. It was the 29th book I've read this year. I have read more books since then, but this is book number 29 for the year for me. I rated it a 4 out of 5. Now, let's get into this book, shall we? We're going to start with the synopsis. Like I always tell you guys in these reviews, the synopsis is pulled off of Amazon. Sometimes it's the whole synopsis. Sometimes it's just enough of it for me to get the point of what the book is, to remember what I want to tell y'all. Regardless, that is where this is pulled from. Okay? Okay. Synopsis. Tony is the woman to be in Miami. She has it going on from her career as a college English professor. She's a best-selling author, and she's into real estate as well. With her status and success, she hasn't been too successful in dating. She's very particular about what she wants and isn't willing to settle. One look at Zion, and she's already ready to plan a future for them. The two eventually meet, and although the attraction is there, Zion is afraid to love again. He's willing to do everything that he can to not spin. But Tony isn't your average woman. There's many great traits about her that'll be worth that spin. All right? We're going to get into my thoughts. Once again, I say this every review, I feel like, but I write my notes as I'm reading. I do not go back and talk about my feelings at the end. So y'all are going to get my raw reactions. So some of this may be funny because it's just how I'm reacting, like presently as I'm reading. Okay? Not Zion and his mom driving a Cybertruck in Tesla model, whatever it was, I forgot. What, y'all, this book I think was written in 2025. Why would the author make them drive a Cybertruck? All the cars in the world. And I'm real with you. A Cybertruck isn't even an attractive vehicle. I saw that he drove a Cybertruck, and aside from what's going on in the world today, I was just like, that's not cute at all. But whatever, he drives a Cybertruck. His mama drives a Tesla, another type of Tesla. I don't like the way Tony is introduced to readers. What's wrong with being just a regular black girl? And I don't know if it's because. Okay, I'm a be real about this. I'm from Detroit, born and raised, right? And I know, as somebody who's from one of these types of like cities that seem as being hood or like ghetto, every black woman in these cities does not act the exact same. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I love this author's work, but it just felt like a little bit was done, too much was done to try to make Tony feel like this hood, the baddest chick persona. And it just didn't feel necessary. Like, we are told that this is a college professor, English professor at that. We're told that she is a best-selling author. Oh, she's in real estate. She's this comma person. That's what we're told. But when we meet her, and this is going to sound, this probably is not appropriate for me to say. Y'all know how people be sensitive. But when we meet her, she has to be like this neck rolling, got a smart mouth, get back with anybody who got something to say to her person. And like, she talks about how in the neighborhood she's known as fine ass Tony. Like, when they talk, like, you know how in black areas, when they're like, oh, you know Joe from up the block, you know who Joe is, and they say Joe who, and you say JoJo, or, you know, in her world, she's, you know, Tony. Oh, which Tony? Fine ass Tony. Like, and to me, that just kind of felt like unnecessary. Like, I don't know. It was just corny, and they kept calling her fine ass Tony through the book. Like, it was just corny to me. The idea that she couldn't just be the smart, everyday Black woman, and she had to be somebody who was low-key aggressive, somebody who was low-key like, I'ma check you for everything. Like, I don't know. It just kind of turned me off. And I get it, because we eventually find out that that's how Zion, who's also known as Steele in the book, that's how him and his, were they married? I think, yeah, his wife that passed, that's kind of how they started dating, because it started based off of like an argument, basically, and he was attracted to her energy. And I get that the author is trying to show that, look, Tony has that same energy. But I also think that that was a little weird, and I would have preferred for Tony to basically be more of a complete opposite from his wife, so that it felt like he more genuinely was attracted to her, if that makes sense. And it wasn't like, oh, she reminds me of, I forgot the wife's name, but she reminds me of her. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I just didn't like the fact that she just had to be neck rolling and finger popping, and I'm gonna get back with you, and I'm smart, but I got a bad attitude, and everybody in the hood wanted me. And I didn't like that she was forced to have that persona. Because as somebody who is from one of those cities where they feel like that's how all women act, and I got to experience life as a college student, because I am a college grad, and I've got to experience life in corporate. Now, you know what I'm saying? Those women, I'm not gonna say those women don't exist in those spaces, but by the time they're Tony's age, they tend to calm down. Like, she's in her 30s. There's no reason, and she's a college professor. Not saying she can't use AAVE. That's not my point. But it's the energy that she has. And I've been harping on this a little too long, but it was something about her energy that I did not like. Moving on. I think it's interesting that Brooklyn loves her mom. Her mom's name is Temperance. It's interesting that she loves her mom. Was it Temperance or Tempest? I don't know. Her mama. Brooklyn is Tony's niece. That because she did all this illegal stuff to provide, but Tony is providing more without a criminal lifestyle. In the book, Brooklyn basically idolizes her mom, and she's very much so like, my mom did everything for me, and my mom did, my mom would do anything to provide for me, and my mom loved me, and her mom is in prison currently. But I'm not gonna say she's upset with Tony, but she feels like Tony, I don't know, it's weird. It kind of comes across like Tony's a bad person to her, almost. Like, she's like, oh, I know my auntie's gonna be mad. I know my auntie's gonna, rightfully so. Like, Tony be mad at her for the right stuff, but it's almost like Brooklyn doesn't like that. But it's like you hold your mom to this high standard because she went to prison taking care of you. When Tony is legally taking care of you and you kind of cast, I don't want to say cast it to the side because it doesn't feel like that, but it just feels like, I don't know, maybe she's just being a teenager and you always have slack for the parent that's not there. That kind of rhetoric maybe. I said, so Tony knows Steele lost his wife, but is low-key mad that he's not fawning over her their first couple of interactions. When they first run into each other, Tony is instantly attracted to Steele. Steele kind of doesn't acknowledge her, and she is so offended. And we're getting like this internal dialogue of her kind of just like, wow, I'm fine ass Tony. Once again, cringy as hell. I'm fine ass Tony. He should be looking at me. He should be checking me out. Oh, what's this about? Basically, like she's so mad that he doesn't want her, and she's like going off on him almost like, did we F in a past life? Like all because he's not giving her attention. But she also says in her, I know his wife. I know he lost his wife. So it's like she knows that his wife passed and he's probably still not in a good space to where he's like throwing himself essentially at women. But she's upset that he didn't make an exception for her because she's been fine ass Tony her whole life. That's literally all it is. Not she had a great conversation with him and they decided they should get to know each other better. Not they knew each other in college or high school or something and they lost touch, but they back in touch now and he needs to get on the right program. None of that. It's literally everybody else want me. Why isn't he paying attention to me even though he has no idea who I am? I said, not a classroom, lecture hall, exclamation, 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 exclamation. At one point, Zion or Steele, whatever you want to call him, he goes to the college she teaches at to try to like repair the fractured friendship or whatever. Because she, once again, was mad that he wasn't fawning over her. And he's like, oh, I went in her classroom. And it's like, he taught, but if they do have classrooms on campuses, like some rooms are like the size of a regular high school classroom, but that's not what Tony is in, because I forgot the quote, but Zion makes a point to talk about how many students are in this class. That's a lecture hall. That is not a classroom. Classrooms got like what, 35 kids, 35 students. He talking about his hundreds of students. That's a lecture hall. Basically an auditorium. I don't know. It annoys me when people call lectures classrooms. Anyway, I said, I don't think I like Tony. Because I didn't like Tony. I read this book for Zion, honestly. I didn't. He drive a damn Cybertruck. And I still would prefer to read this book for him as opposed to Tony. Tony is egotistical, full of herself, not a likable person to me. Very self-centered. Very, my ego is what's important. And I just was not here for her. I do think Zion and his son had a really great relationship. I liked their interactions with each other, so I preferred to read about Zion. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I said, child, I'm just going to ignore what is clearly going on between WAP and Rhythm. WAP is Brooklyn's bio dad who does not take care of her. Remember, Brooklyn lives with the auntie while the mama is in prison. The daddy is still living at home with his mama. Rhythm is Brooklyn's cousin. Their mom, Brooklyn's mom, I think, is WAP's sister. So, I'm sorry, no, Rhythm's mom is WAP's sister, okay? So Rhythm lives at her grandma's house, and Rhythm has a child. So Rhythm, her child, WAP, all three of them live with the grandma, okay? Rhythm hangs out with Brooklyn in the book. So Brooklyn, when she go to her grandma's house, she there to visit her daddy, but she really only hanging out with her cousin because her dad don't give a fuck about her. But you could tell that WAP is doing some inappropriate things with Rhythm. That was clear from early in the book. It's alluded, but and then in the end, you know, towards the middle to end of the book is blatantly shown. But I called that in the beginning. What else do I want to say about this book? Oh, I didn't write this down, but real quick. Rhythm does some less than favorable things at a teenage party. or I'm gonna say teenage. They are teenagers, but at a party. And Brooklyn catches her in the act. Brooklyn is a fool for still hanging with Rhythm after she sees Rhythm in a compromising position with some multiple guys in the car outside of a skating rink at a party. I'm sorry, cousin or no cousin, if I go to a party at a skating rink or wherever with you and I catch you in the car doing some less than favorable things, and it's not a situation where you were forced to do those things and you just out in the open doing these things, we can't hang together no more. I see you at grandma's house. I see you at the family picnic. I see you at the barbecue when I show up. But we're not hanging out. I don't like how the book ends with Brooklyn being upset at Rhythm but not saying anything about her dad. Now, this was just part 1, so there are other parts coming. But when Brooklyn finds out about what's been going on between WAP and Rhythm, which is her dad and her cousin, she's like, oh my God. It's almost like, oh my God, I can't believe my daddy did this. And then she has smoke for Rhythm. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe my cousin would do this to me, and then smoke for her dad. That is not what it is. It's, oh my God, I can't believe my daddy would do this, and smoke for her cousin. Who, I forgot how old Rhythm is. Rhythm is like 16, 17. I'm sorry, no, Brooklyn is like 16, 17. Rhythm is like 19 years old. Like, Rhythm is not this grown-ass woman. You know what I'm saying? Which means something in the milk ain't clean. The incest of it all. Something in the milk ain't clean. And it's like, Brooklyn has, the last couple of pages of that interaction is Brooklyn having all this smoke for Rhythm. And I don't know, I can't wait. I'm gonna read part 2 because I really want. That's what I'm interested in. The situation between WAP, Brooklyn, and Rhythm. I don't care about Tony. I didn't like Tony. Tony was my least favorite part of this book. I'm gonna be real with y'all. If she died next book and he meets somebody new, I would be happy. Right now, I think Tony was snatched up by one of her students or something. I don't care. Maybe they in the classroom. Anyways, if I didn't tell y'all, I rated this book a 4 out of 5 for the book itself. If we talking about how much I like Tony, 1 out of 5 because I did not like Tony. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you plan on reading this book. Let me know if you have read it already. Let me know if you enjoy Diamond D. Johnson's books. I think she puts out very good books. I read a lot of her stuff. I think I have reviewed them before. I'm almost positive I have. I know they've been on my TikToks here and there. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all today. Once again, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.